So, ladies and gentlemen, recently, the back and forth between Niger and Orano has gone way out of hand. Emotions coming up, emotions going back down. France have said a lot. Orano, its CEO, its representative, a lot of people have been talking on the social media. It's getting chaotic. Niger is equally responding. The civilian organizations are responding. The president of Niger has responded. A lot of the Nigerian top brass have also responded. The Nigerians in diaspora have equally responded. Ladies and gentlemen, the question is, what is going on? Without no further ado, it's your boy, Android. And before we get into it, because we need to talk about this, the Android community, let's go. After Orano's claim that Niger Republic's recent action is detrimental to the country's integrity, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, the action they're talking about is the trade between Niger Republic and Russia concerning the Halit mine uranium, the yellow cake. You already know it. The most consequential mineral resources on the planet. Now that there is a lot of arms race between China, United States, and Russia, the superpowers, right? One of the most consequential resources that anyone can have right now is the uranium or the plutonium. And in Africa, one country stands ahead of the others on a whole different pedestal entirely, and that's Niger Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, after making the statement, even though we don't understand what France means by Niger's recent action, which is selling its own sovereign resources, is detrimental to the country's integrity. A lot of people have been saying that France is feeling cheated. But where is that coming from? But the president of Niger, General Abdurrahman Chiani, has now come out and he has addressed these claims. According to him, he said, whoever thinks they have interest in Niger or they have interest to defend in Niger should come and negotiate with us as equals, with dignity and respect for our sovereignty. Ladies and gentlemen, based on my own take, my opinion, I feel like Niger is treating this with a lot of maturity, with a lot of respect, because if you listen to what he said, right? Like I've always said on the Android community, I said, the Nigerian authority, they are closing the window, but they are opening the door. Multiple people can go in through the door. Few can go in through the window. You have to be a bandit to go through the window. So they are closing the bad channel, right? If I want to go into an apartment, I should be going through the door as an honorable person. If I'm jumping through the window, I'm a bandit. So the Niger Republic knows that the window is actually the wrong route. So, and this had been the route that France have always used before. With Some, with Sopami, with Orano. And what is France doing? What is Niger doing? We are going to shut that window. And now you, as an honorable person, you're going to be taking the door. And the door means that France, we have to come to the table as gentlemen, as equals, with dignity and respect for the sovereignty of the Nigerian people. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this is already a problem and so much of a dispute is that France still feel like the undisputed unipolar hegemon, the sole oxygen and carbon dioxide of the Francophilic bloc. But ladies and gentlemen, we no longer live in 1960 Mongo Park, when the goat was still a wild animal. Right now, the goat is a domestic animal. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nigerian people are saying that nothing will come against their sovereignty. Their march towards freedom is inevitable. Look, for those that claim that France feels cheated, ladies and gentlemen, they don't really understand that this is existential for the people of Niger. Every decision will be consequential. And General Abdurrahman Chiani is not just speaking based on how he feels. He's speaking based on the constitution of Niger Republic, bringing France in against the interest of the state will be treasonable. Key decisions are meant to be taken at this time. But I feel like Niger is still opening the door. If you look at the response of the president of Niger here, that whoever, United States, France, Britain, anybody that thinks they have interest to defend in Niger should come to negotiate with them. This is not malicious. They are still opening the door to France. But the billion-dollar question is France permitting herself to behave and just negotiate? France still has an opportunity. But ladies and gentlemen, we the Pan-Africanists, you know that we see this as a big risk, allowing France to get back. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? How do you see it? Do you think this is going to be a dangerous move? Do you think this is going to be a beautiful renewal of friendship? Or do you think that the closed door of France, you think it should be closed forever? Ladies and gentlemen, you can kindly drop your opinion in the comment section below. What you think. But before we go to the next information, please kindly hit the like and subscribe button. When you hit the like button, it takes the video to a whole new level. We have over 6,000 views every day on the Android community. And we just need over 1,000 likes. If you can do this, that is how you get to support our community. So ladies and gentlemen, in the next information, which is equally very, very important to the liberation and sovereignty of Africa as a whole, the Burkina Faso government had a meeting today, and they have now reinstated some of the old laws. According to them, they've now stated that offenses like high treason, terrorism, espionage is now going to be resulting to death penalty. Ladies and gentlemen, if you get involved in treason, espionage, terrorism in Burkina Faso right now, the penalty is death. The ultimate price, ladies and gentlemen. Now, a lot of critics have actually said that this is too tough. But ladies and gentlemen, according to the old saying, desperate times needs the deployment of desperate measure. We know the impacts of the agent of division, covertly, overtly, through propaganda, through every tool in the toolbox. Coup d'etat, a lot of failed coup d'etat, terrorism, radical preaching. But Burkina Faso have been standing 10 toes on the pavement. And we need to understand something. The death penalty coming for treason and espionage at this point is highly important. So anyone that is trying to push a coup d'etat or a treasonable offense in Burkina Faso right now should be prepared to face the consequence. And you know, Android community is a counter-terrorism community. The most important for us here is the terrorism. So could this just be that if a terrorist is being caught on the line of contact, he got overpowered, he faced the superior firepower negotiating with the troops of the Burkina Faso armed forces, maybe the riot troops, and negotiating with them from a place of overwhelming firepower, got caught in action, and now he's a POW, right? So is this a declaration of full-scale war against terrorism in Burkina Faso? You get caught, the consequence is death. Either you get caught on the line of contact where you get summarily dismissed, 72 virgins end almost immediately, or you still get to earn it when they catch you. So which one is it? But now we have a different situation in Mali, where over 2,600 terrorists continue to drop their weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, the speed at which the terrorists are laying down their arms is what I term Godspeed. That is what we need. At the end of the day, the tool they used was manipulation. Different manipulative tools. They use religion as a tool. They use the social media as a tool. A lot of things have been done to Africa to demonize us, to twist our mind, to make us hate each other. Who are these people that are dropping their weapons? They are Africans. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to unite to go against a common enemy. It is very, very important. But I love the fact that Burkina Faso has now made it known that any act of treason, terrorism, and espionage in Burkina Faso now is equivalent to a death sentence. You can just drop your opinion in the comment section below on what you think. You know, a lot of people have equally been saying that they need corruption and money laundering, stealing and plundering of sovereign allocation of the state. They want that too to follow the order of the death sentence. But you know, Captain Ibrahim Traore has previously created a court and prison system for corruption. It's a step at a time. We'll get to address everything. We will unlearn what we need to unlearn. We will learn what we need to learn and become better people. You know the objective and you know the story. But before I leave today, we need to talk about the last information here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most important of it all. I won't be able to sleep perfectly, sleep well, without talking about this last information, because the Prime Minister of UK was recently in Nigeria. And guess what he said? He said, there is no insecurity, that he feels perfectly safe in Nigeria. Nigerians, are you safe? A man from UK that came into Nigeria, probably with more than 60 combat-capable, battle-tested military officers, DSS, NSA. I mean, this man, former Prime Minister of UK, will be so secured. I'm very sure for every kilometer he covers, there will be over 500 capable men that will be guarding him. So tell me how that type of man would not feel safe in Nigeria. The issue of insecurity in Nigeria does not affect the rich and the mighty, does not affect the capitalists. When you speak to a man like Aliko Dangote, he doesn't even understand what insecurity means. Why? Have any Nigerian listening to me now, have you heard that any of Dangote's truck got ambushed or the terrorists burnt any of Dangote's investment? The rich don't feel this. How does it affect a man like Otedola? How does it affect a man like Tony Elumelu? How does it? This whole thing is not affecting the elite. It's affecting the poorest of the poorest. Look at what they called it. Farmer herders. Even among the religious Nigerians they're talking about, the Christians, the Muslims, everybody that is affected, they are poor Nigerians. They are the Nigerians that don't have a voice, that only have a phone and probably a Glow, Airtel, a Etisalat, or an MTN data just to communicate with you and I. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something that the American people, like you all are listening to me, there is something you call the American dream. What does the American dream mean? It means that no matter where you're coming from, as long as you keep your feet on the ground and you put your hands to work, you can achieve great things in America. But do you know that there's a reality in Nigeria that they say, Nigeria happen? There's a prayer they say that, may Nigeria not happen to you. It's a catch-22, ladies and gentlemen. When you talk insecurity, nobody's talking about the rich. They don't get affected. They don't get to be on the line of contact. It's the innocent soldiers, the innocent Nigerians. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our reality in 2025. A man like Boris Johnson, Do you know what I think? I think the United Kingdom is trying to protect their interests because they feel like America is becoming greedy by the day. Nigeria is in a situation, yeah, there's insecurity in Nigeria. Nigeria is a national cake, is a contest between China and United States. They're trying to contest the natural resources and they're trying to contest the trade routes. They're trying to contest the supply chain of the rare earth mineral, which is going to dictate the next geopolitical landscape and the global order of things. Is it going to be the unipolar order or is it going to be the multipolar order? But remember, Europe is still trying to remain relevant. Even though the Brexit made it possible for United Kingdom not to be a part of the European Union, but Britain still wants to maintain its influence because it sees Nigeria as a sphere of influence. That is why you have men like Boris Johnson, the BBC, saying there is no insecurity in Nigeria. But for anyone to have enough cojones to come out and say that there is no insecurity in Nigeria, I dare the person to walk through the streets of Kogi State, Yagba local government, or to go to Kayama in Kwara State, where the common Nigerian live, if the United Kingdom will not be paying ransom within 2 hours. So ladies and gentlemen, you can kindly help us drop your opinion in the comment section below. It's good to be back. We're back like we never left. And we just woke again today like we overslept. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is the only thing that makes me happy. When I get to talk to you, when I get to inform you, when I get to keep you up to date. Ladies and gentlemen, you know this is what we do all day, every day. Thanks for those that donated. I really appreciate it. But we want to say we thank you, okay? And for everyone that comes back, you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe, you share our content. And for those that have been telling us that we should now create a French channel, we are working on it, and Android is going to pledge you a promise that we will put all hands on deck and we will make sure we pull out every tools in the toolbox to make sure that is possible. I can't give you a date presently, but I promise that very soon we are going to have the Frank Android. So ladies and gentlemen, I feel like the French people, you will enjoy it, you will love it. We're in this together. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to say I appreciate you coming back. Thank you, and God bless you. Homeland, the death you know will prevail. A little continua Victoria Center.